How's it going, YouTubers? Cornwall here. Thank you for joining for another video today. And today we've got the Donington track guide from the hot lap that I did a few days ago. And what I'm going to do here is just try and tell you roughly where you need to be braking, where you need to be turning, a few quirks about the track and different things like that. I am using the Formula Rookie as you saw in the hot lap. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to pause the video at certain parts where I think you need to take note, take the corner and point out a few things. Now this is just how I drive the track. There may be slight differences, some people might brake a little bit later, and this wasn't done on a perfect lap either. There's a couple of bits where I run wide and different things, but I'm just hoping that this will help you guys get used to some of the tracks, get used to where you might be braking or roughly whereabouts you should be braking, and go from there, because there are some tracks here that some people haven't even heard of, such as Donington, such as Cadwell, Monza, different things like that, depending on how much you're into motorsport. Depends on how much you've seen some of these other tracks from around the world. So we'll switch over to the actual racing, where you can see me at the wheel, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we are at the track. The video is paused just after the first chicane, because there is just a little bit of a quirk and something to make you aware of about this track, where maybe you've been pipped at the line and things and you just don't quite realise. So let's start the footage, and here we are coming down the main straight. We've just gone past the pit entrance, and as you notice, this has a very so you'd expect the start finish just to be that white line that we've just gone past, that you can just see in the rearview mirror there, but actually it's the red line here. So you can just see the red line here, almost at the pit exit, which means two things. You can almost do a full pit stop and come out again, and you're still on the same lap to an extent, because the pit, well, the race track line, if you call it that, is just roughly where those lights are there, which means that's where you start to boot it. So you've only got this section of the track where you're actually going slower than normal on you start your first lap. It will affect it, but it's just one of those things. But it's just mainly to let you know that this red line here is actually the start finish straight, which is actually quite late for the start finish line. It's actually not that far from the first corner, but it's just to make you aware, because sometimes people might start to ease off of the white line we've just gone past, but it is actually just before this project car sign and the red light and things here. It's just like the last quarter of the pit straight. So just wanted to make you aware of that, but without further ado, let's carry on. So here we're coming down here, and you just want to kind of keep over to the left here of the pit exit. Now be careful of people coming out of the pits. You may have to go over to the right and dart back in. You'll be able to see that on your map and different things if you've got that up. And what I try and do, I try and spot my braking point just after these lines finish, and that's when you roughly want to start to turn in as well. We'll quickly go forward. So I've just shifted down there, probably a little bit too early, and I think I'm turning a little bit too early as well, because I don't quite hit the apex. You want to be aiming for the apex here, but you need quite a late turn, because this is kind of a double headed corner, if you will. So let's carry on. So just get it, but I'm just a bit too over on the right hand side there, but not doing too bad, still carrying quite a bit of speed. I had to put a bit too much lock on there, and then from then on you just flat out straight down down these the S's down here and the cranes corners, flat out, absolutely pedal to the metal. Now here I'm a little bit too out to the right. You need to be on these chevrons here, and that's where you need to start braking for your turn in. Now depending on what car you're in, you might just be one downshift. You might be able to take it, I wouldn't probably say flat out, because you are going downhill at this point and you are going to be getting a lot of speed. So I think normally one shift, maybe two, depending on how quick you are going. You want to be braking at these chevrons here and do your downshift there, and then you need to cut this corner, and then it's flat out again all the way through. So you're picking it up there, turning. I hit that corner quite nicely, and then back over to the right. These corners you should be able to take flat out again, depending on the track you're doing. Back over to the right again, flat out all the way up here, and then you're going to start braking just past that braking board, and maybe a little bit later, and you want to just hit the apex of this corner here. Now it is imperative that you slow down enough for this corner. It is a little bit deceiving, because you think the rest of the corner is quite quick. This one actually narrows up and turns in quite sharp out of nowhere. And I have tried it a few times, not downshifting, and you will run wide into the gravel. So you just want to turn in, kiss the apex and boot it. If anything, I took that a little bit too tight. Up the hill here, and you notice this little church. that's roughly where you're going to start turning and braking as that disappears and reappears as you go over the crest. There's a little braking board here for the actual turn, which is just at the top of this, the apex, or not the apex, the peak of this little crest here, and that's where you need to downshift, turn in and get going. It is a bit of a blind corner to spot, but you can spot it as you approach the corner. You just about see it, so with a bit of practice you will get there. So we're going up here, we've picked a brake board there, you stop and you turn in, and there we go. Now, depending on the car on that corner that you've just been up, you may not have to shift up or down. You may just be able to do it flat out, no issues, in third, say. So in that car it was third, and then you just ease off and keep going. Some of them you may, depending on your gear ratios, you may have to switch down and then go back up as you're powering out. The next corner's not that not a lot to speak of, but you just keep going, keep that right lock on, but not too much, but keep the power down. You want to keep left on this part of the track, and what you're going to do is just after this building ends is when you want to, and there's a little line on the road which we'll point out in a minute, you want to smash it into second, and then you're just going to absolutely pelt it through these chicanes. The more confidence you have coming through these chicanes, the better the lap's going to be. So let's carry on. So we're just easing off now, and just there, let me just see if I can rewind that just a touch. There we go. So it's just after that building, there's a white line, that's where you want to start braking, flick it into second, and you're going to keep right and then kiss the apex there of the first chicane, kiss the apex of the next one and go straight across. Now what you will see in some touring car racing and other racing here is that they tend to take a bit of curb here, which gives you some excitement. I've actually stood just over here on the right hand side, just near where that I think that's supposed to be an ambulance or something is sat, and seen some magnificent two-wheel action as some of the touring cars give it all they can through that, and they just take a bit too much curb, hit the sausage curb, and they're on two wheels. Sometimes they've gone into the gravel there as well. So we're coming in, we're in second, you're going to kiss that apex, give it a bit too much, and then early into the next one, and then you're through. I just run a little bit wide, so you just have to be a bit careful of that, booting it along, and just to the finish line, just there. So I really hope this has helped you guys. I've tried to go through it as slow as I can, picking out the braking spots that I do. There's the down section part of this corner, or this track, where you just flat out through it. So just be careful. It is a good place to overtake, but also be aware that it's a good place that people may overtake you. And again, this is in the Formula Rookie. See my hot lap that I did do a few weeks back, and just to see how the track flows. I really hope you enjoyed this track guide. I really hope you've learnt something. I love this track. It's my home track, so it's nice to have it in a racing game and finally actually drive around it. I've visited it quite a few times. So if anybody's got any requests for any other track guides and a car combination, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. And I've got a few tunes coming out for these for the project cars now. The game's a lot more stable. So until next time, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and all those fantastic things. The channel is getting absolutely stronger and stronger by the day, and I thank you all so much for it. I never thought that just a hobby and something to do would pay off so well. So thank you all for your support. Don't forget to check out my blog that I've started doing as well. I just post up things up there which you might be interested in, just random things that are happening, bits of gaming, and just things that might be a bit too long for a video. So until next time, guys, thank you all again, and I shall see you all soon.